you're out there. You're listening. You're afraid. You're afraid of us. You're afraid of change. I don't have a crystal ball. I can't see the future. I'm not here to tell you how this is going to end. I'm here to tell you how this is going to begin. I'm going to start this broadcast, and when I do, I'm going to show these people what you don't want them to see. A world without controls and boundaries. A world where anything is possible.
Hey guys, how's it going? It's Tom. The DNC has filed a lawsuit alleging a conspiracy theory that the Trump campaign, Wikileaks, and Russia conspired to fix the 2016 American presidential election. Now this is ironic, of course, because the mainstream media and establishment politicians have spent decades labeling anyone who questions official government narratives as being tinfoil hat-wearing conspiracy theorists. Boy, oh boy, times have changed in America. You could thank the grassroots media and independent journalists for that. But the mainstream media has put out endless amounts of propaganda designed to keep the public confused and in the dark. And unless you do an exorbitant amount of research and reading, it's virtually impossible to understand what has transpired. In this report, I'm going to do my best to articulate what has transpired and the roots of this lawsuit. In July 2016, Wikileaks released the DNC email leaks, which showed that the Hillary Clinton campaign conspired with the Democratic National Committee to rig the 2016 Democratic Party primaries so that Hillary Clinton would be anointed as the presidential nominee. Bernie Sanders had no chance to win. DNC didn't deny this, and Debbie Wasserman Schultz, close Clinton ally and chairwoman of the DNC, was forced to resign in embarrassing fashion on the eve of the 2016 Democratic Party National Convention. Fast forward August of 2016. Julian Assange, the founder, CEO of Wikileaks, goes on Dutch television and implies that Seth Rich, a 27-year-old DNC data staffer who had been murdered in July, was actually the source of the DNC email leaks. The mainstream media would go on to report that the DNC servers had been hacked by Russia. They reported this because James Clapper, the then Director of National Intelligence, released a report claiming that 17 American intelligence agencies had concluded that Russia hacked the DNC servers and gave them to Wikileaks. The problem is that there has since been congressional hearings, and both James Clapper and James Comey, the then director of the FBI, were forced to admit under oath that no United States intelligence agency, not the FBI, CIA, NSA, no one, was ever granted access to do a forensic analysis of the DNC servers. So how could they possibly have known that Russia was behind the hacking? The answer? CrowdStrike. The DNC, after they denied United States intelligence access to their servers, permitted CrowdStrike, a private firm, to do the forensic analysis. CrowdStrike concluded it was Russia. The problem? CrowdStrike had received $100 million. I'll repeat that, $100 million. Think people get corrupted by $100 million? From Google. We know from the WikiLeaks that Google CEO Eric Schmidt had been in contact with the Clinton campaign from its origin, and Google was essentially assisting the Clintons in running their social media campaign. We also saw during the election that Google manipulated the algorithms so that when you typed in Hillary Clinton is, for example, only positive things would show up under that search field. So without an impartial party being granted access to those servers, we have no idea, there's no validity to the claim that Russia was behind the hacking. We just don't know. But we do know that the Democratic Party didn't want to grant intelligence agencies access to their servers. Shortly after Trump is elected president, a report is released on the now infamous PP dossier, which claimed that Vladimir Putin had videotape of Donald Trump peeing on hookers in a Russian hotel that Barack Obama once stayed at, and that this was being used to blackmail him. Of course, there was nothing to corroborate these claims. They were quickly debunked. The report had claimed that Trump's attorney was in the Soviet Union on a certain date, or Russia on a certain date, and sorry about that. And the attorney was able to prove no, he was in the United States of America. Nonetheless, that report, that dossier, was taken by James Comey, Andrew McCabe, Rob Rosenstein. Comey was the director of the FBI, McCabe the deputy director, taken to the American FISA courts during the 2016 presidential election and used to get a warrant to spy on President Trump and his campaign. So the American intelligence apparatus was being used to spy on President Trump. Now fast forward, President Trump fires James Comey, the FBI director. Comey responds by leaking classified information. He gives it to a friend who leaks it to the newspapers, claiming that President Trump had tried to intimidate him from investigating Russia. President Trump releases a tweet stating, "You better hope I don't release the tapes." Tricks Comey, and Comey basically admits under oath that Trump didn't actually say anything directly to discourage him from investigating Russia. And now, of course, just this last week, the Comey memo was actually has just been declassified or given to Congress and then the public. And in that memo, it says nothing in Comey's notes that Trump actually attempted to intimidate him. But it doesn't matter because the initial leak by Comey is what led to Rob Mueller's investigation. So under the rule, there's a rule of law, the tree of the poisonous fruit. We now know that there is the two bases for Trump being spied on and the Russia investigation are the Trump PP-Gate dossier, which was funded by the Clinton campaign and easily debunked, and the Comey memo, which was leaked illegally, and in spite of that, there was actually nothing in his notes that indicated that Trump said anything that he tried to discourage Comey from investigating the Trump campaign's leak to Russia. So from the tree of the poisonous fruit, nothing that is found moving forward in the Russian investigation can even be used in a court of law, if the law is applied correctly, to incriminate Trump and his campaign. But okay, we'll move forward. The Mueller investigation gets put into place as a result of Comey's leak. And Mueller gets unprecedented access into Trump. He gets to go through Trump's bank records. He gets to go through... He raids the attorney's office of President Trump and goes through their private communications. And he raids the office of Paul Manafort. And he harasses Michael Flynn and makes it look like Flynn has done something wrong when really they got him on a process crime in which it's claimed that Flynn lied to the FBI. Of course, we don't know if Flynn actually lied to the FBI because the FBI agent who did the interview, Peter Strzok, engaged in an affair with FBI attorney Lisa Page. And in their private text messages, which they attempted to delete, but were recovered, they talked about an insurance policy they had to ensure that President Trump would be stopped even if he were elected president. They also spoke about being members of a secret society. You could say they were being facetious, but either way, they were clearly biased. So, Mueller has this unprecedented access Trump's being investigated by these corrupt agents, and after all this time, there's been nothing significant. They've been able to obtain nothing significant on President Trump. They just throw out Russia this, Russia that. Paul Manafort, they got him for attempting to launder money through the Ukraine before Trump was involved with him, and the Ukraine's not Russia. Roger Stone, who wasn't working for the Trump campaign at the time, had inboxed Wikileaks. But that's not a crime for someone who is a private citizen to inbox a journalist, and there's nothing in that inbox that's even fallacious. And of course, Donald Trump Jr. met with a Russian attorney. I'm not going to attempt to pronounce her name. After that attorney had contacted him claiming to have information on the Clinton campaign. But now we know that that attorney had previously been banned from the United States, and that the Obama Department of Justice moved things around to allow her to come to America just to contact Donald Trump Jr. So in spite of this investigation, unprecedented access into the life and affairs of President Trump, there has been little to no evidence found showing that the Trump campaign colluded with Russia. In fact, in spite of this unprecedented access into Trump's life, there's been little evidence found that Trump has been involved in any corruption whatsoever, which might be the greatest advertisement for any politician in American history. The only thing they have found is that Donald Trump, the eccentric billionaire who's been divorced 2 times and is on his 3rd wife, has an affinity for sleeping with porn stars. I'm pretty certain the American people could have saw that one coming, and I'm pretty certain they don't care. I don't. But we have seen significant evidence of collusion and corruption from Trump's political adversaries. Hillary Clinton paid for the Fusion GPS PP-Gate dossier, and this was known. Yet James Comey, Andrew McCabe, Rob Rosenstein brought the dossier to the FISA court anyway, didn't tell the FISA court how the dossier originated, and used it to gain access to spy on the Trump campaign. James Comey lied to the American people, claiming that President Trump attempted to intimidate him to stop him from investigating Russia. But now we know from his own leaked memo that in his own notes, he didn't write anything to that effect. Peter Strzok, in text messages with Lisa Page, indicated that there was an insurance policy just in case President Trump were elected president, and that they might be members of a secret society. We don't know, but okay. The Inspector General report has concluded that Andrew McCabe lied to the FBI. So we now know McCabe and Comey are both liars. McCabe, Comey, Rosenstein, and Mueller were all involved in the Uranium One court case. In Uranium One, which has since been exposed, Hillary Clinton, the Clinton Foundation, received hundreds of millions of dollars from businessmen linked to the company Uranium One, including Frank Giestra. There are court-documented Russian bribes, FBI court-documented Russian bribes, and at the end of it all, the case was pushed under the rug by the Department of Justice, FBI, and the people involved were given slaps on the wrist, and it went away. Yet the Mueller investigation won't look into Uranium One at all. The Mueller investigation won't look into Seth Rich at all. WikiLeaks has offered to meet with Mueller, but Mueller won't meet. Kim.com claims to have evidence proving Seth Rich was the source of the DNC leaks, but Mueller won't even get back to Kim.com. Why won't they do a full investigation? WikiLeaks, speaking of the lawsuit, because they're named, is a news organization. Now, I think we could all understand from the Democratic National Committee's perspective why they would think a news organization who exposes corruption is a bad thing, because they are so protected by news organizations, right? They can't even begin to comprehend the idea of journalists and news organizations actually exposing their corruption. So when they see WikiLeaks, they say, oh, this isn't what the news is supposed to do. They're supposed to push propaganda for us. So we could see why they named a news organization in their lawsuit. Of course, Julian Assange is currently a political prisoner. His internet access has been shut off. I mean, if the American people, if the DNC could sue the Trump campaign, the Russian government, and WikiLeaks for conspiring to rig the 2016 presidential election, based off of what we've discussed already, isn't it fair to say that the American people would be justified in suing the Democratic National Committee, the mainstream media, and the deep state for attempting to rig the 2016 American presidential election? Oh, wait. That already happened, but the mainstream media doesn't report on it. In the DNC fraud lawsuit, the DNC actually argued, and you can look this up, actually argued that they had every right to rig their primaries. So we know they rigged the primary because it's been admitted. And we know the deep state helped Hillary Clinton because Comey essentially exonerated her before an investigation was completed. And Peter Strzok changed language from gross negligence to something not criminal and benign to make sure that Hillary Clinton wouldn't be prosecuted. So we know the primary was rigged. We know that the deep state assisted Hillary Clinton to make sure she wouldn't be prosecuted. And the mainstream media hasn't reported on any of this, including the Uranium One scandal, in which Clinton received hundreds of millions of dollars. So I think a better argument can be made that the DNC, mainstream media, and deep state conspired to rig the 2016 American presidential election. And of course, the DNC has admitted they rigged the primary, because Donna Brazile, who took over for Debbie Wasserman Schultz after she was forced to resign before the Democratic National Convention, has since admitted on national television that Hillary Clinton and her campaign controlled the finances of the Democratic National Committee, assuring that they would win. Now, as a response to this lawsuit, President Trump tweeted out that he wanted to know about Wendy Wasserman Schultz and her role in the DNC primaries, as well as what went on with the Awan brothers and her laptop. Now, of course, the mainstream media jumped all over President Trump. He's incompetent. He doesn't know that her name is Debbie Wasserman Schultz. And it makes you laugh because it seems like the media never learns. Did Donald Trump not know her name was Debbie Wasserman Schultz? Or did he tweet Wendy Wasserman Schultz because he knew the mainstream media would jump on the opportunity to call him incompetent, and then he would be able to point to the actual tweet, which is about the Awan brothers and Debbie Wasserman Schultz's role in rigging the primary? Because Debbie Wasserman Schultz, who was the head of the Democratic National Committee, employed the Awan brothers. Of course, it's now known that the Awan brothers had all types of red flags. Mortgage fraud, they were connected to an Iraqi doctor who was connected to a terrorist organization. Their entire family had been on the DNC's payroll, even though some of them weren't even computer experts. And for some reason, they were immune to background checks. And after this was discovered, Debbie Wasserman Schultz actually kept the Awan brothers on her payroll. Why didn't she cut ties with them when everyone else did? They had access to the emails of the majority of Democratic congressmen and congresswomen. Were they running a blackmail scheme out of Congress? And then one day, a laptop that was Debbie Wasserman Schultz's laptop, or at least said it was hers, was found in a DC building. And with it was a picture of the ID of Imran Awan, asking the authorities to contact him. So the authorities now had Schultz's laptop. And Schultz responded by showing up, and this is on tape, at a public committee and threatening the head of the DC police that if he did not give her back that laptop, there would be consequences. Why did she want the laptop back so badly? What was she afraid of? Now, we don't know what's on the laptop because her attorneys got a judge to issue a stay so that the contents of the laptop cannot be reviewed. But the DC police still have that laptop. Interestingly enough, the attorney actually argued that the laptop did not belong to Wasserman Schultz. So is it your laptop, Debbie? Or Wendy? Is it your laptop? Or is it someone else's laptop? And if it's someone else's laptop, why are you threatening police chiefs that there will be consequences if they don't give it back, and having your attorney getting judges to issue a stay so that the contents of the laptop can't be reviewed? But the media thinks Trump is dumb, so they bite on the bait, and now there's all this attention being drawn to the Awan brothers, Debbie Wasserman Schultz, the rigged presidential primaries, Democratic Party primaries. And of course, this lawsuit is now a good thing because it opens up discovery. So through discovery, are we going to get access to the DNC's email servers? Now I'm sure everything that's on them has since been bleach-bit, sledgehammered, lit on fire, and trash compacted. So I doubt we'll ever get the access to those servers. But through discovery, are we going to find out that they've been destroyed? Through discovery, are we going to get access to Debbie Wasserman Schultz's laptop? Because I sure bet the DNC doesn't want that to happen. So this could be a blessing in disguise. See, when the DNC files the lawsuit, this is their new strategy, their new method of propaganda. They figure the lawsuit could drag on for some time, and that the mainstream media will report there's this lawsuit that's going to expose the corruption between Trump, Russia, and Wikileaks. But for those of us paying attention, we know all the evidence is actually to the contrary. So this is some complex stuff, but I just wanted to take a little bit of time to lay it out. I appreciate your support. If you want to support me financially, go to www.patreon.com/FFRnews, little as $1 monthly. Follow me on Steam at Tom Anderson, BitChute Tom FFR News, Gab Tom Anderson, Twitter Tom FFR News, Facebook Tom Anderson, and Facebook FFR News. I was going to have Julian Assange on for a follow-up interview, but unfortunately he couldn't join me because his internet's been turned off. Thanks, guys.